All right, and we're all set.
Yeah, hello everyone. Good evening. I'm very happy to be here. First of all, okay, my name is Echezonachukwu Nduka. I'm a Nigerian-born poet based in Mays Landing, New Jersey. I'm the author of Chrysanthemums for White-Eyed Ghost and also Waterman, my new poetry collection, which I'll be reading and talking about this evening. First of all, I'd like to thank Julie Howard and the Ocean City Free Public Library for giving me this platform. They've been very supportive of my work, and I'm not a new artist at the library. So we've had a couple of events in the past, and I'm so happy to be here to read from my new book and to share with you my work. The past couple of months has been a very difficult time for everyone, where we've had to find alternative ways of doing things because of the pandemic. But also, it's not all bad news. One of the good things that has happened is that we found a way to share our creative work. We found a way to keep ourselves together, by reading, by writing, by sharing art, music, and all of that. And most fortunately, this year, I had my second volume of poems, Waterman, published in Canada by Griots Lounge Publishing, based in Canada, in Manitoba, Canada. So, and I'm very grateful for that. So today, I'll be talking about my second book, Waterman, and reading some poems from the collection. So at the end of the reading, if you have any questions or you have comments, I'll be very happy to take them. And tonight, we're not going to spend a lot of time. Within an hour, we should be done. So thank you very much for your time, and I hope you enjoy the night. So first of all, before I start the reading, I'd like to talk about the cover. So this is the cover of the book, Waterman. It's actually interesting because the cover is a commissioned artwork, is a commissioned work of art, painting. The painter read some excerpts from the manuscript when it was going for publication, and then designed, made this very beautiful painting, and then my publisher adopted it, and we had it on the cover. So I think it's really beautiful, and I'm so excited about it. I hope you will find it really interesting as well. So copies of the book are available online on Amazon, on Barnes and Noble, on bookstores, but also they'll be available in the library, especially also Ocean City Free Public Library, where you have copies from next week. So without further ado, I'd like to go straight into the book. And I'd like to begin my reading tonight. I'd like to start. Let me read the first poem. The first poem, "The Child," will be the opening poem for tonight. That's the first poem in the book, "The Child." So I'll read. Standing in the hallway is the child I wish to become. Busy hands unpacking toys, building cars and bridges with polymer. He applauds his design, looks at me with unburdened eyes, and points at his invention. This hallway is his highway, and he cruises, this child. There are no ills from a poisoned fellow who sees skin color as the enemy, no speed limits to keep the flight of dreams in check, no medical reports sounding final warnings on cholesterol, no mails from the IRS or credit card companies with figures bad for blood pressure. He kicks the bridge and watches it tumble down in multicolor. This is what it means to know life as milk. Right, so this is the opening poem, "The Child." So I'd like to talk a little bit about this poem before I go to the next one. So I think this is about innocence, about little beginnings, and the poem comes from a place of not only introspection but observation as well. Being in the hallway, looking at this young child, running around playing with toys. And I think, oh, what innocence. At this stage of life, you're not burdened about a lot of things. You're not thinking about, oh, my weight, I'm watching my weight. Oh, the doctor said this. Oh, cholesterol, I need to cut down on this and all of that. You're not getting any mails from the IRS, filing taxes and all of that. You know what happens, as an adult, you have bills and bills and bills to pay and all of that. So as a kid, you're just happy and enjoying life, running all over the place, playing with toys, the toys invention and all of that. So that is what the poem is basically. And I thought it was a good poem to, begin the collection with, like starting from that place of innocence, from that childlike outlook on life, further to other things. All right, so I will go to the next poem I'll be reading tonight. It's titled Mala. The first time I stopped for a fill-up, he pointed at my stereo and asked, Africa? Mala at the gas station knows the map of Africa as drums and Afrobeats, giraffes in jungles posing for photos, and men in flowing gown the size of a bedsheet. He talks about a Kenyan friend who designs machines. He's not really a friend, he says, but I know him. Mala records his dreams about Main Street. Last night was the 85th, he says. There's a piano waiting in his room, cold from neglect. Tomorrow, I will meet him talking to himself, aiming to fill up life's emptiness with a gas station nozzle. Now, the third poem for tonight is titled Border Wall. So I wanted to, I was trying to create something out of the, the political tension that, at the time in the history, in the political history of the United States, we had all this talk on the television about building a wall, we're going to build a wall. The president, Donald Trump, talking about building a wall, and then Mexico was going to pay for it and all of that. So it was, it generated a lot of, debates and reactions from people. And of course, as artists and as poets, sometimes you look at things and then you want to, respond to that. The poem may not be a direct response to Border Wall, but the debate at the time made me think of it in many ways, and I tried to create something. And then, of course, I had to title the poem Border Wall. So I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to read it. It's titled Border Wall. My little niece is building a wall with beach sand. I recall when, as a child, I watched my sandcastles become one with water. I would build again and again until my tears, salty as seawater, fell into new waves on the shore. What if I had names for my losses at sea? Would they have been returned whole? I will not ask why the wall must stand at the shore, nor turn my back while it crumbles. The good uncle must applaud creative genius. Take photos of the great builder at work, circle the wall with amusing strides, and stay back to console a kid grieving her loss. When I think of crumbling walls, little niece acts her stripped, called Jericho, dancing and dancing round the living room until, like her wall of beach sand, she falls on the sofa to catch her breath. That is it. Right. So, well, every year we have Halloween. A few days ago we had one. So this poem I'm going to read is titled Halloween Parade. Where I live here in Mays Landing, we usually have a parade, have all the, different groups of people, with the brass band march, parading with the procession, and it's usually very exciting. But of course, that did happen this year because of the pandemic. We are all being careful. So yeah, but that I thought of that event when I was, writing, and I had a picture of, what happens every year during the parade, and I started to create something with it. So this poem, a short one, is titled Halloween Parade. Pumpkins with new eyes and mouths have homes all to themselves as people line up at Main Street. If costumes and martial music could give skeletons a fresh start, there would be a few more esoteric chants from practiced voices. A drummer boy plays as though he locked eyes with a ghost, hands and drumsticks in cryptic communion. I watch as the night redresses itself in ghoulish wares. The cycling cop tries to make a show but crashes by a tree whose leaves autumn has painted red. The young knight's trumpeter, eyes wide like an owl's, plays even louder. Later, he would high-five a co-trumpeter and raise his trumpet to the sky. I am not one to argue what scent should be revered. All are covered in sand. And when the faintest melody descends to their very midst, it turns to dust and settles on bones as memories. Right? So I'll read a couple of poems, and then we can discuss other things. Please, if you have any questions or any remarks, you can leave your remarks in the chat box, and hopefully I'll get to see them, and then we can talk about that. So I'm going to read a poem titled Boardwalk. The boardwalk, especially the one in Atlantic City, New Jersey, has been quite a source of inspiration to me as a poet, as a creative, and one who observes, who in many ways tries to find the day-to-day living of people around me inspirational, to look at them and try to create something, out of all of that. So there is the Atlantic City boardwalk that I usually love to, to go to visit the boardwalk, walk around, take a stroll, sometimes go to the beach, look around, see things going on. And oftentimes it is from the little things, what people call the little things, or those things that usually go unnoticed, that, sometimes inspire or spark off something that you want to create, that makes you want to create. So yeah, so this poem is titled Boardwalk, and it is fully inspired by not necessarily real life events, but from some of the things I've seen while visiting the boardwalk. I'm hoping to create a much larger body of work of, poetry and essays just from boardwalk alone, but not necessarily Atlantic City boardwalk, but different boardwalks in different cities. I like to just go visiting boardwalks, sitting around, watching, looking at people and all of that. And hopefully I'll get to, have so many stories or things to come out from such an experience to inspire me to create. Yeah, so this poem is titled Boardwalk. Notice the gait of tourists on a summer noon. Catwalks on wood are for onlookers who, like the ocean, rises and ebbs for sanity. A young couple across the casino calls out to their daughter, Lisa, whose dance steps betray the beat of the passing music. Love-struck partners kiss to the silence of passers-by. No, the one who kneels to propose draws cheers and applause. Phone cameras record the new phase as viral online content. Near the main pathway to the beach, a gray-bearded man sits alone, crossed-legged, eyes fixed on the feet of strangers, as if he is keeping inventory of shoes and sizes. If shoes could talk about those who wear them, the man would have his whole body full of stories, so that at dusk, when the beach reclaims her song and stores close in honor of the arriving moon, he would have gained more weight just by sitting at the boardwalk. Right. Yeah. So one of the things that I love about this poem is the idea of having, shoes, speaking shoes. You have someone sitting at the boardwalk, just relaxing, looking at people, mainly focusing on the feet, at the feet of strangers, looking at their shoes. Probably is trying to uh, discover what shoes are in vogue or something like that. And I was thinking, oh, come on, wait a minute. If shoes could talk about those who wear them, like you're wearing your shoes and your shoes are, speaking to strangers about you, probably the man will have his own body full of stories because he's been focusing on shoes, people wearing shoes and passing, going to the beach or elsewhere. So, yeah, I think spaces like that, has always been a huge source of inspiration. There are stories everywhere, and it doesn't take so much looking or seeing or observation to see all these stories. And it's pretty much interesting when we eventually, are able to turn them to art. So I'm going to read this poem titled Arabesque. Arabesque. Arabesque is the first poem in the second session, because the collection Waterman has 3 main sessions, 1, 2, 3. So Arabesque is the opening poem for the second session. Clothed in ragged ponchos and shawls worn to keep cold's umbrage at bay, there is often a song, a whistle even, for strands of his dreadlocked hair, embracing what is left of his tormented soul. All hours of the night find him covered under makeshift tents in abandoned street corners, awake with rodents and street lamps. They say he is mad, yet he keeps watch over his art. Daytime bustling meets him splashing colors on canvas, making portraits that adorn no galleries, stringing crowds together with stories as threads of spell. Characters on graffiti walls blink to mark his footfalls. They smell the scent of genius. Shakespeare of the broken neighborhood. He is both playwright and actor at the count of 1. Standing on one leg, arms spread out like wings at the side of cameras set to shoot. The open street is a stage, perfect with props for full effects. They say he is mad, yet he keeps watch over his art. Then comes a preacher with news for the soul artist so loved and loathed. If you believe, proclaims the preacher, you will be saved. The artist, sober in his resolve, raises both hands and swears an oath to save his art alone. Okay, so I'm getting close to the end of my reading tonight. For the couple of poems I selected to read. Yeah, but I'd like to read this poem that directly talks about music. In the collection, there are to save his art, not heart, art, to save his art alone. Thank you for asking. So I'm going to read a poem about music because in addition to being a writer, to being a poet, I am also a musician. I'm also a musician. I'm a pianist by training. I play the concert piano. I play as a solo. I perform in concert as a solo and collaborative pianist, but also in church as a pianist and church organist. Yeah, but this you tend to have when you read my poetry. There's this sense of classical music, not only in the direct references to maybe composers or music, but also in the musicality of the poems. So now this poem is titled "Conservatory." Conservatory. That's the title of this poem. It's about music. So I'm just going to read that. Beethoven's music flows out of your room like water under a bridge. We talk about strangers sharing common melodies and paying respects to genius bones. You want to talk about notes, an ill-fitting song title, and a cadenza racing through scores like a painter's dream. But someone is dying in your room, and it is not music. I say how prayers mean nothing in the absence of ears. Broken lovers are not always blue. Some are crimson, with honey and a new list of skincare ointments. I cannot make a sonata into notions for skins dry like mine. Piano music wakes the dead only in concert halls. I am rehearsing my next life as a piano, a 9-foot concert grand on stage with a name so long the pianist would need extra fingers. I hope you love this one. So yeah, sometimes I imagine my life as a piano or things like that. So yeah, but interesting. So I'm gonna read this poem. This is the shortest poem in the collection. It's just 2 lines and it's titled Winter. It's the shortest poem in the collection and it's titled Winter. The season has arrived when we must confess our innocence to heaps of snow on driveways. That's it. Yeah, so to close for tonight, I'll read the title poem, Waterman, the title poem for the book, and also the last poem of the collection. So I'll have 2 more poems to read, and then if we have questions or if you want me to read more, you can, indicate, let me know. Yeah, but I do not intend to, take so much of our time tonight. So I'm just going to read the title poem, Waterman, and then I'll read the closing, the last poem of the collection. Waterman. No one mentions how flood disrupted your birth, how rains welcomed themselves into the room where you lay, crying, legs up, craving warmth. Naming you was easy. We scooped a cup of oil, placed it gently by your bed, and watched it turn to water. You were not for drinking, not for ablution in the waking hours, not for washing the linen of traditions trapped in broken flesh. Stacked in shelves and boxes, books in your room now witness the alchemy of liquids. They become magic, pages flowing into the next as you read a story on boundaries. I think of fences we should build in defense. You will not stop flowing through closed spaces, not now that we have names for hurricanes. I wish to drink you hot, yet I want to watch you freeze in wonder. And when you freeze, prayers will not defrost you, will not make you linger, nor lead you to sanctify what cravings I foresee. I won't build a bridge across you for fear of sudden transitions. Waters take inventory of trespassers in cryptic tongues of air. I'd rather wait on the riverbank and watch you flow and flow and return. So I'll read the last poem for tonight that I'd like to read, unless, of course, you want me to continue. So the last poem, the last poem in the collection is titled "A Short Note on Departure Theories." A short note on departure theories. The only way to defeat departure is to say goodbye and stay. Say see you soon, but sit still. There'll be no apparitions in my room, no interruptions for thoughts shaped like the tip of your nose, no break from Nintendo games and coffee so dark I scream for cream. No Pavarotti singing in praise of Italian pastas and cheese. I forgot to ask if he ever owned a pet that sang as well. What do two men playing sax on a nearby hill not have in common? One is bald and plays staccatos. The other is full-haired and plays legato notes. How does a song cling to the body of its players? Does excelling melodies count as a plus for climate change? Harmonies may ordain human bodies. Harmonies don't end after a goodbye and a handshake, after lips disengage from mouthpieces like an amen to a prayer. Fighting absences with resonance is an unwritten law of sound, and I, too, will resonate to my body in your absence. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful.